set, the former Illini big man, Jermaine Hamlin, now in his third year with the Eastern Illinois Panthers. Familiar territory for him. He started last time around when these two teams played. As Tiger Booker, the senior and Tarleton State transfer, feeds it over to the far side, gets it back. Playing very far back off the screen. Shannon able to stay with him, but a shot from Booker does not go, and the board pulled out. Moving quickly is Rogers, and now to the near side. Yeah,
I mean, the first thing I noticed defensively is Hawkins sagging there. He let that mid-range open, and I think for EIU, they want to get that mid-range game going, as we mentioned in the pregame.
Hawkins, a quick three off the feed from Damask, very far off, and quickly getting the rebound there, Cooper Jacoby. Looking to facilitate on the other side, feeds it off to Dan Lewers. He's now looking to go in. Illinois keeping them on the three-point line for the most part thus far. Forced to feed it back to Booker, screen it. Now trying to go in, hook shot, in and out, off the hands of Sincere Malone. Now Ty Rogers looks to push the pace. And back to Hawkins at the top. Rogers looks to drive off the pass from Damask. Pick and pop to Hawkins, fakes it, going inside, kicks it out. And kicks it to nobody.
I mean, we see EIU sitting in his zone right now, and kind of that same play we saw with Hawkins. You know, he pumps his time, drives, and looking to facilitate, but right, clearly they get him ball twice, and he's able to make an adjustment, get a drive and kick. Even though that didn't work out, Hawkins is still going to have the ball at the top of the key a lot of the time.
And again, there we saw it too, the screens, and in the case of Hawkins, the pick and pop, trying to facilitate this Illinois offense. Going into no call there, good Illinois defense there, moving quickly now Rogers, harassed on either side, but still able to put it up.
Yeah, and that's where EIU cannot settle. I mean, obviously, you know, transition is what Illinois is all about. Allowing those easy buckets is not going to help their case tonight.
Quick pace transition play, certainly a strength of this Illinois team, and that's another litmus test. Eastern's going to want to play slower with particularly how much they screen. Going in now is Malone and gets the roll. And now another interesting look. Gary A took it up as Damask fires and short. Malone the rebound. You'll see him, Sincere Malone, everywhere on the floor. He'll be playing the 1, he'll be playing the 3, he'll be playing the 4. The Draymond Green of this team, as Marty Simmons described him. Just a do-it-all guy, a workhorse for this team, a man whom the stat sheet does not do justice. Tiger Booker back with it now, shot clock down to 8, fires, and gets the bounce.
Well, still Booker, same thing coming off that screen, left pull up mid-range. EIU fortunate enough, you know, for Hamlin to get that tip in there.
Again, Gary A playing on the outside. Damask now off the screen. And Illinois hasn't really been able to get much in on the screens. We saw a pick and pop to Hawkins. We haven't really seen them go inside off of these screens. Credit to Eastern so far for that defense. Hawkins tries to take it one-on-one, and a foul before that appears to be assessed to Jermaine Hamlin.
Yeah, I mean, we can see, you know, to your point, keeping the Illini on the perimeter, right? And you know, it's a little bit of hesitancy coming on the perimeter. They're not able to drive and kick as well or as fluently as they want to. I think right now getting TSJ involved for them is what they need to do.
And an early substitution here, Luke Goody in for Quincy Guerrier. So maybe Illinois is trying to say, okay, you want to play on the perimeter? We'll make you suffer for that and make some threes. Maybe that's the MO here from Brad Underwood with putting Goody in. He has it now. And back to Rogers. They're keeping it on the outside. Shot clock down to 7. Damask, kick out. Shannon takes. Too long now. Fight for the rebound. And it will go to Eastern after some further delay. Now to Illinois. And so a fresh 20 for the orange and blue.
I mean, so far, right, for EIU, very impressed defensively. Quick on the switches, quick into their man, causing a lot of disruption for Illinois.
Again, both teams thrive on the screen offense, so quick switches and communication necessary for both teams. Shannon going in now, trying to play the one-on-one game. Euro step, no problem.
This is what I'm talking about here. I mean, getting him downhill, getting him going. You know, he's able to draw fouls if he doesn't convert. They just need to get something going consistently here early on.
And that was a lot of what the Illinois offense was last year once Hawkins screened, and Shannon's ability to attack from any direction. As a quick block there from Hawkins, kept alive, however, by Jacoby. Feeds in another from Rogers, still alive. and Jacoby catches them napping third time around.
We were talking about that paint presence early on, right? And 3 opportunities for EIU. That's got to be unacceptable for Illinois.
Something Brad Underwood will certainly talk about is Rogers can't get that to fall, and looks like he's in the wrong place at the wrong time there. Foul number 1 assessed to the Illini.
Foul on Illinois number 20, Ty Rogers, his first, team's first.
So now a quick substitution on the other side for Eastern Illinois, and one of these star freshman guards brought into the game. That's Nikyle Shelton taking the place of Dan Lures. Meanwhile, on the other side, Justin Harmon entering for Illinois. Got the most minutes out of anyone on the bench in the exhibition win against Kansas. Let's see how Illinois adjusts here. Strictly man in the shape of a 3-2, you could say right now, with how Eastern's playing on the three-point line as well. Back to the mid-range, so common for their game. Can't hit it, fight for the rebound, pulled out to Shelton. Back the other way, Tiger Booker fires and hits.
I mean, right now it's just second chance points. Coming into this game, I thought it was going to be a problem for EIU with the second chance points. But right now, Illinois is getting hurt with no interior presence defensively.
And we'll talk about it, the lack of a permanent paint presence and 3 guys that can really play on the outside, and Guerrier, Hawkins, and Danger. Illinois has to be imagining the one guy who can really play inside is Dane Danger, as Harmon misses that one. And all the Illini faithful have to be thinking, where's Danger? When's he coming in? At this point, as another one goes inside in transition from Jordan Booker. Shannon trying to repeat that as he goes in now and draws the contact.
Due to time constraints, we now move ahead in the action.
He's always had the facilitating, even that he had last year playing for this team. And Underwood talked about it. It was the mental game. Of all the components, he lost 20 pounds in the offseason, got a little bit slimmer, starting to become more of a scoring threat. But even in his freshman year, that's something we saw him do. The game against Michigan, here right in this building, the double overtime win, that dunk at the end of the first half that he just ran in on, really helped Illinois with the momentum. And conversely, too, I think Illinois has really only had 1 or 2 possessions involving the big men inside. Everything has been guards going inside. As Guerrier getting aggressive there. And so Eastern Illinois has done a great job denying the Illini's ability to go inside. Illinois has tried to hurt them with the threes. That hasn't worked. So you have one arm behind your back now if you're Illinois, and you have to go inside.
Well, that's exactly the mentality when it comes to sizing up for EIU, right? They get Jacoby in there as long as and getting some bigger guys in there as well. So I mean, they're forcing them to stay on the outside, take that outside shot. Right now for Illinois, they're not converting, so they have to find something else.
Hamlin, Kevin Garnett, shimmy shake, and the hook shot goes. And he has felt right at home. Again, the mental hurdle just by being here in a building he's so familiar with and seeing a sea of orange. He saw that for 2 years. And certainly having to go up against Kofi Coburn every day for 2 years in practice, that doesn't hurt either.
Just have this feeling where he's calm and collected. Everything has a purpose, and he's very controlled with his movements right there, especially as we saw against Hawkins in the post. And that shimmy, I mean, Hawkins definitely shook enough to where it became a wide open shot. It was hardly contested. Right now it's coming easy to Hamlin.
So again, Illinois going inside. That's been the best way they've been able to score points. And one thing that is working their way, as Damask nails that one, 7 fouls. 17 fouls for Eastern Illinois. We're halfway through. So free throws have been a problem for them in the 2 exhibition games, but they can hit them. They can reverse this into a couple points of a lead. Damask goes 1 of 2. More of the same from the free throw front for Illinois, as we saw in the first 2 exhibition games. Booker moving left. Now finds Shelton. They're looking to go back inside. Hamlin on Hawkins. Can he exploit that? Hook shot this time with the left. Pure.
I mean, Hamlin First time down, shimmies goes to the right. Next time down comes with the left. Seems just unstoppable right now.
Hawkins going inside, thought about putting it up. Kicks it back out to Shannon. Great defense right there from Jermaine Hamlin. Shannon's three is off. You could see Marcus Damas calling for the ball inside there. He's pushing the pace, and he's trying to get inside here. Certainly making all the right moves for Illinois as Booker going in. Doesn't get the roll. Hamlin the rebound over Hawkins. Second chance doesn't go. Still being fought for, and a loose ball foul. Will it stay or will it go back?
Foul on the Panthers, number 40.
It is on Eastern Illinois, so that's their 8th foul. And so Illinois back to the line.
Number 23, Rodolfo Bolis.
So now Hamlin out, Rodolfo Bolis in. And a very interesting look there. Dane Danger's about to come in now. So either we see Hawkins and Danger, that 4-5 that allows Hawkins to be in his natural spot along the three-point line. Pending, of course, the made free throw. And now Danger set to enter the game. So he appears to be entering the game in for Hawkins, but now an interesting matchup. It would be Dane Danger on Rodolfo Bolis. So Illinois has to realize that, and they have to go in for Danger. Eastern Illinois catches a huge break there. Danger not in yet, as Hawkins missed the free throw. Beautiful curl from Shelton. Fake, stripped nonetheless by Shannon. He's moving quickly, looking to push the pace. Goes up, unable to handle it. Gibbs-Lawhorn right there.
I mean, just great athletic prowess. You know, TSJ gets beat. He's able to work defensively to get the ball, and then Lawhorn elevating to finish.
Eastern Illinois a bit out of sorts here as Tiger Booker resets. Shot clock has gone halfway down, driving in on Hawkins, senses the mismatch, but too strong. Now Goody pushing the pace. Gibbs-Lawhorn going in, a 1-on-3, and he converts nonetheless. Spark plug off the bench. Gibbs-Lawhorn and Danger have both been for Illinois, and they have tied up this game with 7.5 left in the first. Now, if you're Eastern Illinois, how do you respond? You've leaned heavily on the guards going in. Teardrop doesn't go. Bolis gets it back. Fight for it. Still alive. Too strong again. Now, does Illinois push the pace? Yes, they do. Who else? Gibbs-Lawhorn. Timeout, Eastern Illinois.
Due to time constraints, we now move ahead in the action.
Those three straight inside to Gibbs-Lawhorn have allowed Illinois to get back in this game. And there is a clip that will set the internet ablaze for the next 10 years at least. An air ball on a free throw, and now the students get involved with the hope that another missed free throw means free McNuggets. And there it is. So happy campers in the Orange Crush, and certainly throughout the building of the State Farm Center, and a happy Illinois team too, as they have a chance now with 3.5 to go in on the momentum. Shannon pushing the pace, no surprise. Guerrier faked and brings it in.
We get our
spin cycle almost on Jalen Gibson.
We get our first little taste of Moretti as well as he checked in. Quick swing over to Guerrier as he's able to make a play and drive.
Go back out, Bolis on the outside, now Tiger Booker. Talking about spark plugs, he's been the main one alongside Jermaine Hamlin for Eastern Illinois. Jacoby falls down, Damask unable to sense that. 7 on the shot clock, they get it back to Booker. Baseline, check that, it's Gibson, and he converts. Illinois pushing the pace, again, no surprise. Shannon bodies a man along the baseline and forces the blocking foul.
Well, right now, I mean, we get Illinois, right, and the double bonus, and that's a green light. I mean, that's a green light for TSJ. Anyone to just keep on driving, draw fouls, try to get inside and in the bucket. They're going to continue to pursue that at the end of this first half.
He can be aggressive, but he can't be too careful because one more and he draws a second foul. Cautiously aggressive, you could say, and not just Shannon, too. Again, Damask getting inside. Gibbs-Lawhorn in transition when he gets back into the game. Curious to see the role that Niccolo Moretti has as well for this team, maybe facilitating spreading the floor, forcing some guys to the outside, maybe allowing those other guys to work. 1 for 2 from Shannon. And again, we talked about the pace battle. Eastern Illinois is going to want to play slower. Now Tiger Booker has it, slows it down temporarily. Back to Booker, Shannon over pursued. Beautiful two-man game, but unable to convert there is Bolis. Back to Moretti, he goes in, kick out, Damask, corner, too strong again. Fight for the rebound, pulled out by Hainsbury. Back to Damask. And there you saw it, Hainsbury with the rebounding prowess for Illinois. Shannon back in, kick out, extra pass deflected, and that will stop that 3 from Moretti. 7 on the shot clock, they go back to him. Go back out to Shannon. Doesn't rush his shot, and he cashes it in.
We're getting that feeling where Illinois is looking to make that extra pass, right? Sometimes that can hurt, but in this situation, they're able to develop the play long enough where TSJ is essentially wide open in the corner, takes his time, knocks it down.
And a clear indication, too, that they want to get the three-point game going. They've now expanded the lead to 6, and they're eating up time in these Eastern Illinois possessions, forcing a lot of late shot clocks as Bolis off the glass can't convert, and Shannon pushes it now. Looking to drive, now back out. Guerrier looks to go in for Hansberry. He looks to find a man on the outside and does. Moretti thought about it, and it appears he stepped out of bounds.
Out of bounds possession, EIU. In for the Panthers, number 17, Lazar Grubovich.
Nicolo, the Bologna native, whose brother Davide played with Terrence Shannon Jr. at Texas Tech for a few seasons. Certainly imagine that was a factor in seeing Davide's success and deciding where do I want to play. Oh, I got this great teammate who's now with this great program at Illinois. Jacoby on the outside, in and out. Both teams starting to struggle with those threes again. Only 1 for 4 now for Eastern and 2 for 15 from Illinois. You know, coming into the season with the mid-range game that Damask provides, Danger starting to get involved inside, Hansberry, the presence of more natural 3s and 4s for Illinois. We didn't think this was going to be a live by the 3, die by the 3 offense, but they still have 4 guys on the outside, 4 guys stationed along that 3-point line offensively, and it's contributed to those inconsistencies. Another air ball inside a minute, and it goes to Illinois. So no permanent paint presence. Won't be surprised if, I mean, that's Dane Danger's natural spot on the inside, so won't be surprised if he goes into that role more often as Dra Gibbs-Lawhorn back into the game for the last 55 seconds of the first half. And 2, you have to figure out how to diversify that offense, because all this talk of inconsistency come March, a lot of that is because of the 3s, no matter what game you're in. So a season-long task for Illinois. They're not shying away from it here, however, as Goody had a pure look. That's not a bad one to take. He had plenty of room, and he didn't rush a shot either.
It seems like that's been the second. You know, he's knocked down 2 today. That's really, you know, been the first look where he felt comfortable and able to shoot from the wing.
You have a lot of 3-point power if you can make them, but you don't want to take the careless shots. Gibson back out, seeing his first playing time and putting up the shot. Lazar Grubovich and short. 14 seconds now. Goody will hold. And take a timeout. Use it or lose it there for Illinois with 10 seconds left. So now 10 seconds left. And Illinois has Gibbs-Lawhorn, Hansberry, Goody, Shannon, and Damask on. So you have to imagine it's going to go to Shannon. There's going to be a lot of screens and curls to set him up here. Right on cue, a pick there, but out to Hansberry. 8 seconds. They're looking to get it to Shannon, and they do. Goody sets up, Shannon with a deep 3 from the logo, and he delivers. That's some momentum going into halftime, fixing the 3-point problem, and a 24-6 run.
Due to time constraints, we now move ahead in the action.
To win that game, to end and win that game, but a great sight to see for the Illini faithful that they can win in multiple ways, should the score stand, of course. free throw doesn't go there. Again, Cooper Jacoby has been the best answer that Eastern Illinois has had in this game. He's been able to penetrate the mid-range and get into the paint for some floaters. So maybe he's the guy you turn to down 17. As Shannon drawing some contact of his own, and he'll get to the line. Again, a lot of foul trouble at this point for Eastern Illinois. Sincere Malone out with 5. Jermaine Hamlin playing right now with 3. And a lot of that has been because of Terrence Shannon's ability to force contact inside. He has it now, fires quickly from the near side wing. Beautiful rebound and a beautiful vertical there from Gibbs-Lawhorn on both sides. First the vertical to grab that ball, and then going in and laying it in smoothly.
Yeah, I mean, that has to be one of their, I think that needs to be a thing for Illinois they need to focus on. I mean, we see Domask just, he'll be able to elevate and grab offensive boards, and Gibbs-Lawhorn just doing that. That's got to be a point of emphasis moving on for Illinois during the season.
Guerrier and Hawkins both on the outside for Illinois, providing some length, denying Eastern the ability to get inside until the end of the shot clock. Meanwhile, Gibbs-Lawhorn takes it away from Hamlin. Now he facilitates on the other end, looking to go inside. Step back turnaround is good. 10 very important points for Gibbs-Lawhorn in this game. Lead up to 21. Cooper Jacoby looking to go in, nearly lost it now. Hook shot on Hawkins. Doesn't get the roll. Off Shannon, it will stay with Eastern Illinois. But spark plugs on both sides there. Gibbs-Lawhorn going in, taking it away on the other side, and then taking it himself. And then on the other side, Cooper Jacoby. That's an old-fashioned veteran move. I'm going to take matters into my own hands. This guy's only a redshirt sophomore, transfer from the University of Toledo, but he's shown a lot of veteran moves in this game. He's producing in the same way that Marcus Domask was, instigating offensive production. And Gibbs-Lawhorn capitalized. Jacoby is going inside there, and the foul on Danger will send Rodolfo Bolis to the line. Jacoby not only has instigated, he's produced.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen a lot of mid-range shots from the baseline, and as well as, back to the basket, being able to turn around, put up a little floater. He's been fantastic in terms of offensive production, and in efforts, you hope that opens up the interior with maybe Hamlin, getting another guy with EIU going, freeing him up.
You can create contact, but it's not going to do anything if you can't convert on the free throws. Eastern Illinois is now 0 for 4. Make that 0 for 5 on the free throws. And 64% last year, that was a tough one for them. That was a sore spot, and it ended up hurting them in close games last year. Shannon, far kick out. Gibbs-Lawhorn now at the wing. Deep!
He's finding every way to score, right? Back to the basket, a little fadeaway. First possession comes back down, deep 3 from the wing.
What a breakout game for him this has become. And we talk about it for Illinois. Each player had their own sort of breakout game throughout these first 3. It was Gibbs-Lawhorn. It was, check that. Now, today it's Gibbs-Lawhorn as Goody fires from the corner. Illinois starting to convert now. It's starting to become a runaway. But one bench piece each throughout these first 3 games for Illinois has had their best game, has had their moment. And tonight it's Gibbs-Lawhorn.
Get in the paint, but when they kick out for 3, finding Goody wide open there in the corner, that's when things start getting in trouble defensively. And offensively, they just need to find a solid piece that they can ride with right now.
That solid piece has been Jacoby. Gibson has played a part as well, as now back to it. Mikhail Shelton. Gibson has it, 5 on the clock, tries to go around Gibbs-Lawhorn, not once but twice. Now feeds it in on multiple, and that's also been a story tonight for Eastern Illinois. They've gotten some good looks, they just haven't been able to convert.
Well, and that's obviously with any opponent going to be detrimental, but when we're talking about a top 25 opponent, we need to be making those wide open mid-range shots and others like that.
Armin harassed now on the outside, and Gibbs-Lawhorn will reset. Danger on the outside, fires. Why not go with the hot hand, but play whistle dead before he can. He stepped out of bounds.
I will say this, I mean, when we're looking at that early first half, right, those opening minutes, I thought Eastern Illinois could have had many chances to extend their lead with how many open mid-range shots they missed. And you mentioned how many good looks they had that they just could not convert. And right now, Illinois has been able to battle back and get ahead.
Jacoby calling for it with Goody on him. However, he gives the ball up. Moving in now, nice feed inside, but odd angle. He'll have to move around. That's Jalen Gibson with it. Throws it off Goody to gain a bit more time. 6 on the shot clock now for Eastern. In the corner, Shelton. Now Jacoby. He's been facilitating a lot on the outside. Damask has done a good job on him. Damask and Goody from denying his ability to get inside. Forced to give up the ball as he got inside now. A quick 3, and Danger recovers the rebound. Illini keep it on the outside. Damask now going in, has a lane, too strong. Now Gibson pushing the pace on the other side. Shelton driving in. Great closeout there from Gibbs-Lawhorn, but it will cost his team 2 free throws.
Due to time constraints, we now move ahead in the action.
Goody into Danger on Hamlin. Danger bullies him out of his way.
And just to bring up that point again, finding the rotation, right? This is a great time to do it, right? We still have a lot of time, as you mentioned, and EIU is trying to come back in this game, but it seems like a low-pressure situation, and it'll be beneficial later in the season when maybe you are struggling to find an identity against a Big Ten opponent or a top 25 opponent.
And again, great teams are able to beat you in multiple ways. As Griffin had to step in on Goody, and he will get to the line.
Foul on the Illini, number 10, Goody. His first, team's third.
With 2 for Illinois. Now is the time to find that consistency. As you talked about, now is the time to find what rotations work. The great teams beat you in multiple ways. We talked about it in the context of Illinois beating you both with the drive and the 3. We talked about it in the context of the Kansas game where everybody was aligned close together. Both teams were within 5 points of each other versus now Illinois goes on 2 runs. Illinois has outscored Eastern 47-14 since that point. The height of the Eastern Illinois lead in the first half. And so they've shown that they can win by scoring runs. They've shown that they can win by staying consistent. If the Kansas game, if what's past is prologue with the Kansas game. And so now, particularly as your non-conference opponents couldn't be any different from each other game by game, now is the time to find that consistency.
100%, right? And there's so much firepower offensively. It's just being able to, pull the right strings and finding which, how you can facilitate and control that firepower. And luckily we get some for Illinois, some non-conference opponents, and they're going to be able to test that, see where that consistency lies.
3 from the outside is no good. Eastern has only taken 6 threes, but they've only made 1. Conversely, Danger back out. Damask from the corner, short. Fighting for the rebound, trying to keep it alive, but he could not. Here's Ty Rogers.
In for the Panthers, number 25, Dan Lures.
So now Dan Lures back into the game for Eastern Illinois, and a man who has gotten a lot of starting minutes. You are not deep if you're Eastern Illinois in the front court, particularly with the foul trouble, which did plague them last year and has plagued them in this game, and with the fact that Caleb Donaldson, a man who's played very much inside, your biggest returner, is hurt. So you need another guard to step up. Jacoby has done his part. Tiger Booker has done his part, but now maybe you look for another guy in Dan Lures as the 3, a high arc there, is off. Maybe you look for another guy in Dan Lures who had a great freshman year but struggled in his sophomore year. Maybe he's the answer, and someone who could get going and regress back to the mean. Rogers trying to go in, a lot of traffic. Can't get it through, however. And back we come, Jacoby manning the point. Hamlin at the top of the key, now Tiger Booker. Eastern with their starting lineup in. Now Booker drives in, And Hansberry will get credited with a foul.
Foul on the Illini, number 35, Amani Hansberry.
Got to come back with your point with Dan Lures, right? I mean, our projected starters that we had, we didn't have Lures on our radar, and I think a lot of that could be that size that he brings, at the guard position.
Yeah, it's a combination of size and experience, certainly, as Eastern looking to get the ball out here. That might be 5 seconds. Yes, it is. It's a combination of experience and the size. Experience in particular, Jermaine Hamlin, a guy who started the first few games for Eastern last season, but never ended up establishing his role as the season went on, ended up coming off the bench. Lures, another guy for whom that happened last year. So you do start the more veteran guys. As the beginning of the season starts, you sort of ease the freshman guards in, and the starting lineup will definitely look different 10 games from now, 5 games from now even. Guerrier in the corner, he hasn't been able to get going offensively, and that continues. Eastern now pushing the pace, and they haven't been able to get their threes going either. Now Shannon moves to his left, goes in, and he earns a trip to the charity stripe.
You can always count on TSJ to get things going, right? I mean, a little bit of a lull there in the action, and simply all it takes is an outlet to TSJ, and he's able to go downhill and make a play.
Bus plays defensively and makes you go to your second option, but it's been the offense today that he's put on full display. And in the first half, it was everything in transition. In the second half, he's been able to diversify that with some mid-ranges, with a couple of three-point baskets, and so proving that he can do it all from everywhere on the court. We talked about it. Each bench piece, each game for Illinois, one player off the bench has had just a star-studded game. Whether it's been Justin Harmon, whether it was Gibbs-Lawhorn to an extent in that first game, certainly. But Illinois showing increased depth here, and each bench player has had their moment throughout these first 3 games, and that's huge.
It's going to prove dividends later down in the season when they have to rely on them against bigger teams, better teams.
The 3 is short. Hamlin fights for the rebound, pulled out to Hansberry. Niccolo Moretti in for his second shift of the game. Now gets the screen from Hansberry, pushes the pace, driving inside, and he'll go to the line.
We've seen Moretti, not get too aggressive, right? And I think, he's a great playmaker when it turns, when it comes to passing and facilitating, just generally maybe slowing down the game when it needs to. But, if Illinois can get him driving to the basket, creating plays around the rim, that's just going to be another piece that they can utilize later in the season.
It's to use an Italian term, it's the va bene attitude. It's the attitude of, I'm not going to do too much. I know my role. I know that if I try and do too much, I will end up hampering this team. And he's facilitated. He's gone in when he sensed that there's an opening. And so he's done this part. He's fit like a puzzle piece right into this program early as he gets his first points of the evening. Gibbs-Lawhorn denying Booker from going inside. Now Corey Sawyer has it deflected and back to Booker. Rogers on him, Sawyer a 3, and there it is. Finally, Eastern gets a 3 to fall.
When Lawhorn, a little struggle getting back, he slipped and fell as he was trying to get up to that 3-point line, and Sawyer was able to knock it down.
Moretti has it stripped, and you saw a little bit of hesitation there, like maybe I should be the aggressor, maybe I should take the 3, and then he drives inside.
Yeah, I think when it comes to, when we get to, March Madness and when each possession gets so crucial, you want a guy like Moretti who's always aware. He's very cautious and smart with the basketball. As Lawhorn knocks that down, he's getting going.
Gibbs-Lawhorn continuing to produce in spades, now up to 16 points, leading the way today for Illinois. And probably, too, 10 of those 16 have been probably the most important points of this game for Illinois. The 6 in the first half in transition as Rogers got a little too aggressive there, and finally Eastern gets a mid-range to fall. They're starting to find their offense here, although perhaps too little too late with 6 remaining. So not only has Gibbs-Lawhorn produced in spades, they've been very important points here for Illinois. Tried to bring the house down there by feeding it to Hansberry. Illinois will take 2 at that.
Just very impressive, his anticipation, his vision, right? I mean, we talk about he comes down, makes a 3, gets the ball back, pumps, drives, and then senses the defender pushing, he just drops it off there. His playmaking has just been so special, and I think something that's just going to continue to develop, and he's going to be an integral part of this offense and defense as his team progresses.
And we keep talking about March in the sense of consistency. Well, another thing that will help that consistency, you're going up against teams in March that might have a 7-8 man rotation. Illinois, because of the productive quality depth that they can get through guys like Goody, Gibbs-Lawhorn, Danger, and Justin Harmon, you're going to be a team with a 9-10 man rotation going against a team with 7-8 man rotation, which in turn will reduce the strain on your starters. It allows the starters to do more with little time. So now Illinois has made the lead 30 points. Again, a 24-6 run to round out the first half, which really was the turning point in this game, facilitated by Damask and Gibbs-Lawhorn. Floater doesn't go. Moretti fights for it and pulls it away. Now he pushes the pace. Gibbs-Lawhorn, why not, but is off. Goody will try. Short as well. Look at Niccolo Moretti all over the place, running like Pac-Man. Can Harmon convert? No, he cannot. Good series there for Illinois with the offensive rebounds, but couldn't convert there. Trying to go inside. Illinois doing a good job keeping them at the perimeter and denying them when they do try to go inside. They're crowding the paint, particularly that restricted area.
Checking in for the Panthers, number 17,
You know, we're just getting to that point right now where EIU has to rely on just anybody to try and make a basket, and sometimes that hesitation, it forces players just to drive in and look for a bucket. Illinois senses it's starting to get to desperation time. They're going to close that off immediately.
So it appears Jermaine Hamlin's night is done. Lazar Grubovich into the game. Meanwhile, Tiger Booker will get 3 free throws.
I mean, he just has been a guy who cannot get it going tonight, right? And I think if he was able to knock down some of those mid-range jumpers, that would affect how Illinois, was strained defensively. I'm not going to say that they would have been in this game, but it would have, forced Illinois to play their cards a little differently instead of just being able to sit back and relax defensively.
And to the drought from the mid-range, the scoring drought for Eastern Illinois. Only 13 points here, and now 14 points in the second half. That's certainly something Marty Simmons is going to look at in film. Again, they were hamstrung with the bigs being in foul trouble. There's also the question of, is that going to be a problem later in the season when the freshman guards can get activated, and maybe you can throw up a bit more threes with guys like Corey Sawyer, Nikyle Shelton, and Isaiah Griffin. Again, Tiger Booker at the line, of course, certainly has done his part for Eastern in this game alongside Cooper Jacoby.
I think it's got to be frustrating because that's one of their strengths, right? And
two, when 2 of your other 3 items are taken away, you have to be able to convert on that. As they do make a 3 here, and you start to see that a bit more from one of those freshmen in Corey Sawyer. But when 2 of your 3 biggest weapons are taken away, it's do or die with the third. So that's certainly something Marty Simmons is going to look at when it comes to how long that drought lasted. And, you know, down 12 at halftime, they certainly had a chance to get back in this game, but it was the drought that iced their chance of getting back in this game. As they're again up to 10 fouls, and a lot of that credit to Illinois driving inside. And to the absence of Caleb Donaldson due to injury, and Sincere Malone as well, fouled out with 3 minutes into the second half. So two guys that really unite that mid-range game, unite the guards with the bigs. And, you know, we didn't really see a lot of screening and curling and three-man weaves, which were a lot of this team's offensive identity last year. A lot of that is because of the limited time for Donaldson and Malone. So another factor to consider why Eastern Illinois couldn't get going. Meanwhile, on the other end, Justin Harmon lays it in and keeps contact with it on the way up. Booker on Hansberry, and he'll get to the line again. Seeing a little bit of Terrence Shannon here in Tiger Booker in the sense that he's drawing some fouls and getting to the line. And two, that slows down the game, which historically favors Eastern Illinois, something they can use going forward. Booker, one of these players who can really create from anywhere on the court, mid-range, the three, inside, and doesn't need a lot of balance or separation to do so. And again, he, Jacoby, and Hamlin, the three players that have drove your offense in this game when it was going, particularly that first half. And the three for Illinois being Dra Gibbs-Lawhorn, and Damask. You can throw Shannon on there as well.
Yeah, you know, we mentioned it, you know, coming out of the break in terms of, you know, Tiger Booker. You know, if he hits some of those shots, you know, they're going to be forced. You know, Coleman Hawkins, you know, Dra, guys who just are able to sit back down the paint, they're going to have to come up and guard that mid-range, which open up opportunities for the inside as well.
Amani Hansberry was doubled, but that left a man wide open. And finally, Quincy Guerrier gets on the board. Guerrier, the lone starter, still on the floor for Illinois. Sawyer to Gribovich, just past the free throw line and short. Niccolo Moretti manning things at the point. Hansberry calling for it at the three-point line, now to Guerrier. Moretti gets it back with an increased intensity, looking to go in, 1-on-2, forced to give it up. Guerrier, extra pass, and stepping out of bounds for the second time today was Gibbs-Lawhorn. And that will propel us into another break in this one. Illinois up 28. So one team looking to build that consistency, one team looking to develop their identity and develop depth in that identity, because they do have a good game plan as Dan Lures gets active from three. Flashbacks to his freshman year on that. They do have a good game plan, but if one of those things goes out, they don't have answers once the adjustments are made, at least in this game.
Looks like Eastern Illinois coming out with a little more fire. You know, trying to make a statement at the end of this game. Just trying to be as active as they can, get the most out of this experience.
And as Isaiah Griffin steals it, and he'll get to the line, that also, you know, even in a situation now where you're down by 25, that does something for your team. Seeing a lot of the younger guys get active, a lot of the guys who have given it their all in practice just to get 2 minutes of gameplay, that does something to the bench, and that fosters a lot of chemistry. And again, even when you're down 25, morale builds, and seeing the second and third stringers get a lot of playing time and give it their all. It's a common lesson that any father will teach to his son or daughter in sports, is that if you don't like the playing time you're getting, you know, make the most out of those 2 minutes that you get in the game. Or if you don't get in, make the most out of practice. That becomes 30 seconds of game time. You make the most out of those 30 seconds. You put your all into just that. Becomes 1 minute. You do the same thing, becomes 2 minutes. It cycles over and over and over. So you may consider this garbage time, but it's certainly not for these freshmen. It's time to prove yourself.
Of course, and when playing time is so inconsistent, you never really know when you're going to get your next, chance to prove yourself. They're going to make the most of that, situation, 100% of the time, right? Because at the end of the day, this is what they commit, their life to. They're a student athlete, and a lot of time goes into, and outside of basketball, just working on their bodies as well in the weight room and conditioning. So a lot of the time, taken in, they just need to be able to perform on the court whenever they're called upon.
Well said. Dedicate your life to the game there as Guerrier denies Corey Sawyer. Moretti pushing the pace back the other way to A.J. Red. He gets involved, and he will head to the line. And in turn, as you can see from the Illinois bench, seeing a player like A.J. Red get some playing time and spearhead the offense, in turn helps you as a team.
And we'll see if Illinois elects to go with guys like Keaton Kutcher as well, maybe get them in these late minutes here. But I mean, it's all around just, positives. When you're able to get these guys in any game time situation, right? And we saw that in the exhibition game where everyone's getting playing time, in terms of Ottawa and Illinois. So being able to make the most of this late game experience is important.
When you look at the things that transfer over from game to game, Illinois was able to make adjustments quickly and capitalized when their opponent was hamstrung, both in terms of the foul trouble, Jermaine Hamlin going out. When it comes to the three-pointer, still inconsistent, so until you can be a surefire team from three, you have to diversify your offense, so it's not live by the three, die by the three, as it has been in past years. And free throw is certainly another area to work on. Both teams only 50% in this game. Griffin pushing in the pace. Increased intensity from him as he tries to find an outlet. Now moving in now, mid-range floater with the right hand, does not go. We're inside of 2 minutes now. Niccolo Moretti has it. Changes direction. Met inside. Hansberry keeps it alive, and the foul.
Just seems like Moretti's making the right play every time, right? Knows exactly what to do with the basketball. And he just does such a good job with just slowing down the game and making sure he knows where that ball's going, feeding Hansberry down low, and gets the M1.
Yeah, these are great minutes for him, to your point. He does just enough. He does just enough. He doesn't color outside the lines to the point where the drawing looks very poor. He does just his part, and in turn that puzzle piece fits in perfectly with this squad. So now you do see Max Williams into the game. So now all but 2 players for Illinois have seen time on the floor. And that is the end of the night for Quincy Guerrier. Griffin looking for some separation. Now Grubovic at the top of the key. Dan Lures, another player who needs to find something to get going here for Eastern Illinois to provide that depth, particularly at the beginning of the season until the freshman guards can get going. He can't convert there. And a carry there from Niccolo Moretti.
I will say, still a lot of positives, especially at the beginning of this game for EIU, really getting Illinois on their heels early. And I think if they're able to convert, some of those open buckets they had, because, we've been saying that they've had good looks all game. They've been able to, put up shots that should have been high percentage, but, shooting themselves in the foot a little bit, you can't do that against a team like Illinois. I think there are going to be some positives moving forward for them.
Well, certainly, and the 2 biggest adjustments to make from this game are develop some increased depth in the front court. Cooper Jacoby has helped with that as well. Rodolfo Boldis had some valuable minutes as well, but it all started going downhill as Hansberry hits a 3. It all started going downhill when Jermaine Hamlin had to leave the game with foul trouble. Sincere Malone wasn't really a factor tonight for that same purpose, so that's adjustment number 1 for Eastern. And then adjustment number 2 is when your back's against the wall, you have to convert in the context of the mid-range. Beautiful move right there with the left hand from Isaiah Griffin.
Especially going up against a bigger defender in Hansberry. Very tough take from him.
So Illinois will round things out for the final possession. Dra Gibbs-Lawhorn and Terrence Shannon led the way scoring, particularly with the 3-point shot, getting that involved, and Marcus Damask and Dane Danger with quality minutes as well to start the run for Illinois. It was a 24-6 run that rounded out the first half of play, and a quick start to the second half that ended this game in favor of Illinois.
Yeah, I mean, they've just been